Hey there, and welcome back.
Hello.
So if you're new here, this is where we basically take some interesting ideas and, really unpack them.
Get stuck in.
Yeah, exactly. And today we're looking at discipline and habits. Why some people seem to have it all sorted.
Well, the rest of us are still working on it.
Pretty much. We're going to use lots of everyday examples, try and make it super clear, which actually should be great for boosting your English listening skills too.
That's the idea. Keep it engaging, easy to follow.
Right. And maybe, have a bit of fun with it too. Our goal is just to break it down, make it make sense.
Definitely. And we've got some really, I think, quite fascinating thoughts today on what makes us tick, why sticking to stuff is hard, and how maybe building good habits isn't as impossible as it sometimes feels. We're kind of exploring this together, really.
Okay, let's jump in. Our starting point is this great question. What do you think discipline does to people? Why are some people disciplined and some are not? How is this built?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. It's like asking, why can my friend run a marathon while I struggle to get off the sofa? Metaphorically speaking, of course. Sometimes literally.
Well, the speaker in our source offers a really interesting starting point. They say discipline is basically keeping the promises you make to yourself.
Keeping promises to yourself. Okay. What do you think is powerful about looking at it that way?
Well, it feels very personal, doesn't it? It's not about some external force. It's about your own integrity, your word to yourself.
Yeah, that hits home. We've all done it, haven't we? Tomorrow, I'll start. Or this week, definitely.
And then tomorrow comes.
And, snooze button. Or maybe just life gets in the way. The source points out loads of people find this hard, even when we really want to do the thing.
Exactly. So it's not about being perfect or superhuman. It's about, being reliable. To yourself first.
Right. Being reliable to yourself. I like that. So, okay, if that's discipline, what actually fuels it? The source talks about motivation, but also desire.
Yes. And it stresses wanting it bad. Why do you think that deep desire is so important, maybe even more than just day-to-day motivation?
Well, motivation is fickle, isn't it? Like some days you wake up feeling ready to conquer the world.
And other days, just finding matching socks is a major win.
Totally. So that deep desire, wanting it bad, that's your underlying why. It's the thing that pulls you through when the motivation has, packed its bags and left.
Precisely. It's the anchor. And the source acknowledges this human side, our moods, emotions, life stuff happening.
Yeah, someone gets sick, it's your birthday, you just feel rubbish.
All valid feelings. We're not machines. But discipline, according to this view, is kind of doing the work despite those feelings. Not ignoring them, maybe, but acting anyway.
Acting in line with your promise to yourself.
Yeah.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. Your feelings are real, but your commitment is also real.
Okay, this leads to another really cool idea in the source. Comparing discipline as a task versus a job. Using the gym example, can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. So for lots of people, going to the gym is, it's a choice, a task for health. You might skip it if you're tired, right?
Yeah, easily done.
But for others, like maybe a professional athlete, the speaker implies this is their situation. It's not optional. It's part of the job description. It's non-negotiable. The necessity feels different.
Ah, okay. So the perceived necessity changes everything.
Right. And you can apply that to, say, learning English. If it feels like just another task on your list, it's easier to skip. But if you connect it to something really vital, your dream job, talking to family abroad, whatever your deep why is,
then it starts to feel more like part of the job of achieving that bigger goal.
Yeah.
Less optional.
Exactly. It shifts from a nice to do to a need to do in your own mind. It becomes more ingrained. So connecting to that why is key.
That makes so much sense. It's about reframing it for yourself. So if we want to make something like learning English feel less like a chore and more like second nature, what's the secret sauce? Repetition comes up a lot.
Yeah, repetition is huge. The source literally says doing something thousands of days until it becomes second nature.
Thousands. Wow.
Well, maybe not literally thousands for everything. But the principle holds. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate it, do you?
Not usually, no.
It's automatic. Learn through doing it over and over and over. Your brain basically builds a pathway for it. Makes it easier each time.
Like paving a road in your mind.
Yeah.
And there's that story about quitting sugar, right?
Yeah.
How does that illustrate this?
Oh, yeah, that's a great example. The speaker talks about having this strong sugar craving after every meal. Like really strong.
Been there.
Right. But they decided, okay, gonna cut it out. And the first few weeks, really tough. A conscious effort, a real task.
Battling the craving.
Totally. But they kept at it consistently and slowly. The cravings faded. They just got weaker. Until eventually they didn't even think about sugar much. They even had a planned monthly cheat meal, but found they didn't even want the sugary stuff anymore when it came around.
Wow. So the habit actually changed the desire itself.
That's the point. Sticking with it rewired things. What was once a struggle became effortless. It wasn't just willpower forever. It was building a new default.
That's really powerful. Proof that the initial slog pays off. Which kind of leads to another point. Small, easy changes. They can have a big impact too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The source mentions things like just putting your phone away earlier or deciding to go to bed 15 minutes sooner.
Doesn't sound like much.
Exactly. Minimal effort in the moment. You're not running an ultra marathon here. But doing that consistently, huge potential benefits for sleep, focus, well-being,
Right.
Or the example of like a 10-minute walk every morning. Small commitment, manageable, but do it regularly, improves health, sure, but also gives you that little win, that feeling of I did what I said I'd do.
And that feeling builds confidence, doesn't it? Like for English learners, maybe it's just learning one new phrase a day or listening to a 5-minute podcast clip.
Perfect examples. Tiny steps, but the cumulative effect is massive over time. Builds momentum.
Yeah, those small wins are so much less scary than trying to overhaul everything at once.
Yeah.
Okay, and this idea of momentum brings us to cycles. Good habits lead to more good habits and bad ones.
They snowball, yeah. The source talks about that positive feedback loop. Get good sleep.
Feel more energetic.
Feel more like exercising.
Maybe eat better because you have the energy to cook.
Exactly. One good choice makes the next one easier. But the flip side is also true.
Uh-oh, the negative cycle.
Yep. Like watching TV late leads to mindless snacking.
Then poor sleep.
Then feeling sluggish, maybe grabbing sugary cereal because it's easy.
Oh dear. It's a slippery slope. I recognize that pattern.
We all do, probably. One domino knocks over the next. It shows how interconnected our habits are.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, what about when things get genuinely tough? Life throws curveballs. How does discipline fit in then? The source mentions some common coping mechanisms.
Yeah, it observes that when things are hard, people often turn to, well, maybe less helpful things. Comfort eating, maybe drinking a bit much.
Endless scrolling on social media.
Or even burying themselves in work, becoming a workaholic. These might feel like they help in the moment, but long term. Maybe not so much for our goals or well-being.
Right. They're avoidance tactics sometimes.
Possibly. But here's a really interesting counter idea. The positive reinforcement loop.
Okay, what's that?
The idea is when you're feeling down, intentionally do something positive, but maybe a bit challenging. Something good for you.
Like going for that walk even when you really don't want to.
Exactly. Or maybe tackling one small productive task. Doing that can actually trigger a dopamine release in your brain, that feel-good chemical.
Ah, so your brain rewards you for doing the hard but good thing.
Precisely. And that reward makes you slightly more likely to do another positive thing. It can help break that cycle of just reaching for the easy comfort that might not actually help.
That's a cool mental hack. Using your brain chemistry to your advantage.
Kinda, yeah. And the speaker shares their own personal strategy. They allow themselves some slack on bad days, relax a bit more. But on good days, super disciplined. Really maximize them.
Interesting. So lean into it when you feel good.
Yeah, while acknowledging that might not work for everyone, they also mention that the advice they give friends is slightly different. Be kind to yourself when things are rough. Allow the comfort.
Got it.
But have a plan to gently get back to your routines when things stabilize. Don't let the bad day become a bad week or bad month unnecessarily. It's about finding your balance.
That sounds sensible. Self-compassion, but also like gentle accountability. Okay, one last area, competitive environments.
Yeah.
The sports examples. What do they tell us about discipline?
They really highlight the necessity of it at a high level. The speaker talks about athletes in the off season. It's not really off, is it?
Doesn't sound like it.
There's still intense training, monitoring body fat, teammates sharing progress. The pressure is constant. Discipline isn't just for game day. It's the foundation, even during rest.
So it's about maintaining standards, even when no one's watching, or when the immediate pressure is off.
Exactly. Because in those competitive fields, the margins are tiny. That tiny edge often comes from the consistent, disciplined habits built day in, day out, even in the supposed down. It's relentless in a way.
Wow. Okay, so it's continuous, not just flicking a switch.
That's the picture it paints. Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Right. Okay, let's try and pull this all together. Yeah. Today on the deep dive, we've kind of journeyed through discipline and habits.
We have.
We looked at discipline as keeping those promises to yourself. The huge role of really wanting something deep down. How repetition builds habits until they're almost automatic.
Mm-hmm. Like that sugar example.
Yeah, and the surprising power of tiny, easy changes adding up. We talked about those cycles, good habits, breeding good habits, bad ones. Not so much.
The snowball effect.
Exactly. And navigating discipline when life gets tough, using maybe that positive reinforcement idea. And finally, how crucial it is in those really demanding competitive fields.
Yeah, understanding these things can definitely help, whether your goal is learning English, getting fitter, or, anything else you've promised yourself you'll do.
Absolutely. Hopefully exploring these ideas has been useful, maybe given you some food for thought, and also helped with your English listening practice along the way.
We hope so.
Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more such content.